session of Superior Court for the state of North Carolina and the county of New Hanover is now open and sitting for the business of the portrait unveiling for W. Allen Cobb, Jr., retired senior resident Superior Court judge, the Honorable Phyllis M. Gorham, senior resident Superior Court judge, present and presiding. God save the state and this honorable court.
I want to welcome each of you to this very auspicious occasion, the portrait unveiling of W. Allen Cobb, Jr., retired senior resident Superior Court judge for the 5th District. I thank you all for coming this afternoon. I really want to tell you a little bit about my relationship with Judge Cobb before we go any further. I met Judge Cobb after I started working in the district attorney's office, and I started prosecuting in Superior Court. I learned a lot from Judge Cobb. He's a very intelligent, smart man, and taught me a lot while I was in Superior Court. I actually, for a while, did not even think that Judge Cobb liked me. He's a no-nonsense type of judge. He does what he does, and that's it. But soon afterwards, we became friends. And as a result of becoming friends, he has helped me to navigate the system, and he has enabled me to advance my career in the judicial system. And so for that, I do thank Judge Cobb. As a community leader and as a leader in the judicial system, Judge Cobb has remained interested and available to assist with whatever our needs are in the judicial system. And now at this time, I want to recognize some of the guests who are attending. If former Governor Mike Easley is present, I do wish to recognize him by standing or waving his hand. Former Congressman Mike McIntyre. I now want to recognize our Superior Court judges. For our resident judges, Judge Harrell and Judge Jones. And the rest of the Superior Court judges, both former and current judges, if you'll please stand or raise your hands. Thank you very much. And I believe Judge Hockenberry, I wanted to personally recognize Judge Hockenberry. Thank you. And if Judge Fullwood is present, I would like to recognize Judge Fullwood as our resident judges and former judges. For our district court judges, the 5th district judges, if you please, if you will stand or raise your hand, we might acknowledge your presence. And for any of our former judges, Becky Blackmore, Shelley Holt, if you will stand or raise your hands. And any other district court judges, either current or former judges from other districts who are visiting, if you will please stand or raise your hand. The New Hanover County Commissioners and the Wilmington City Council, if you will please stand or raise your hand to acknowledge your presence. Thank you very much. The North Carolina Court officials, the clerks of court, Jan Kennedy, the district attorney, Ben David, and any current or former district attorneys, if you will raise your hand or stand. Thank you very much. And our public defender, Jennifer Archer. Our local municipal elected officials, if there are any current or former local municipal elected officials, please stand or raise your hand. Officers, counselors, and professional staff of the North Carolina State Bar, current and former members. I'd like to acknowledge your presence by raising your hand. Stand. Thank you very much. Members of the North Carolina General Assembly, current or former members. Please stand and raise your hands. Law enforcement officers, current and former. If you will please stand and raise your hands. Thank you very much. Again, I want to thank you all for coming and welcome. At this time, I will introduce and welcome back our first speaker, the Honorable John W. Smith. His history here began in 1974, when he served as an assistant solicitor. Thereafter, he served as a district court judge, the chief district court judge, and a special superior court judge. In 2008, Chief Justice Sarah Parker appointed him director of the Administrative Office of the Courts as the leader of the statewide court system. He served until 2015. He currently serves as an emergency superior court judge. At this time, the floor is yours, Judge Smith.
Thank you, Judge Cobb. Please, the court. I think I've managed to cut my remarks down to about 45 minutes. I am flexible, so if anybody gets the urge to get over to 317, feel free to get up and leave if you'd like to. But this is an important occasion. I am honored and humbled beyond belief to be asked to participate in the unveiling and dedication of Judge Cobb's portrait. He's been a friend. We shared the bench through the district and superior court for 32 years as of today. So he has been a longtime friend, and he has such an illustrious family. I have to take a moment to talk about my first encounter with the Cobb family. So you can tell I'm going to reminisce just a little. I don't get to come back here very often. I see so many old friends. I could spend 30 minutes just doing recognitions of the people that are here to honor Judge Cobb. But shortly we're going to go over to courtroom 317. Back in the day, that was the Superior Court courtroom. I'd been practicing law for a couple of years in Raleigh, and a good friend called and said there was suddenly a vacancy in the DA's office here in Wilmington, and that I should come down and talk to Mr. Cobb. We called him Mr. Cobb, Alan Cobb Sr. So I drove down. Alan Cobb Sr. was the district attorney or prosecutor at the time, known as a solicitor. He was in 317, and that's where I first met him. We had a great conversation. He offered and I accepted the job at that meeting. And Harriet and I moved to Raleigh, and it changed our lives. Mr. Cobb, Judge Cobb's father, changed a lot of lives. One thing he did, he hired a young woman named Mary Pippins. Then he saw that his son introduced Mary Pippins to a young prosecutor over in Brunswick County named Mike Easley. They got married, and the rest is history. So old friends and combinations just haunt my mind. And if you come in the Princess Street entrance, you will see Alan Cobb Sr.'s portrait there. I passed it the other day, and I can't describe the flood of memories. His presence was palpable. I could feel it in the building. And the things that I remember about him and the life-changing decisions he made that affected so many of us just ran into my mind and blew me away. Portraits are important. It is now such an honor, almost exactly 20 years later to be here dedicating his son's portrait. We come full circle, and we have so many connections. We would be remiss if we did not talk about some of the predecessors to Judge Cobb and me and the others that are in this room. The portraits that surround you, let me tell you how they got to be here. You are in the W. Allen Cobb Judicial Annex. When this room was dedicated, it was bare. Judge Fullwood asked me if I knew who the other judges had been historically. I knew the judges that go around the room back to John Burney Sr. over there, second one from the end. Nobody knew who the judges were before John Burney Sr. except George Roundtree, who's seated right here. We just knew that he had been a judge because his son was still practicing here. To my amazement, think about this. Superior Court Judge's office stretches back to the Constitution of 1776. And New Hanover County was a seat of court from before then. 4 royal judges, who were known as the equivalent of our Superior Court judges, served here in this city. And that starts a long tradition. To my amazement, there was no list of them anywhere. You got back to John Burney Sr. and it stopped. So Judge Fullwood and I began the process of trying to find out who those people were. We thought they shouldn't be lost to memory. 17 articles over 4 years produced a list of all of the judges that have served in New Hanover County, and Pender County was formed somewhere along about Almond McCoy, who's right there. But the judges who served before then, we put a list together and wrote an article about each one. And I've got to talk about a few of them. The first one I see here to my left is Judge Russell. This is a small portrait on the column. You need to know about him. He was a Reconstruction judge after the Civil War. He was elected as a Republican on the Fusionist ticket. This was back towards the end of the Reconstruction period, before the unpleasantness began here in Wilmington. He handed down a decision that was written and broadcast in the papers, newspapers across the state. His decision is worth quoting and remembering. It tells of the importance of a judge's decision and the challenges that Judge Cobb and other judges have had to face historically. There's a time to stand up and a time not to. In those times towards the end of Reconstruction, a disagreement occurred in Thalian Hall. It's called the Pennypacker case. They tried to exclude several blacks from attending a performance there. The matter came before Judge Russell, Daniel Russell. Daniel Russell, in Wilmington at the end of Reconstruction, wrote this: "The pretension that any person or class may be prevented from resorting to a public place whose doors are open to all but them, and denied them on the account of color or race, will not be tolerated by any court honestly and sincerely desirous of expounding the Constitution and laws according to their true intent." Well, you can imagine. Civil War is over. Folks like Almond McCoy from Sampson County did not like what Judge Russell did at all. They moved Sampson County into the district with New Hanover County, and in the next election, Daniel Russell was defeated. He knew that that was the likely outcome. He knew what was happening around him. His biography is an amazing biography to read, and I recommend it to you. But Judge Cobb made decisions just as important. Judge Cobb, while he was working here, he deserves to be remembered with this portrait we're going to see shortly. Then there's Judge Walter Stacy. That's this one over here, just this side of the column. Nobody knew he was a judge when we started trying to find the portraits to go in this room. Walter Stacy served on the bench. This courtroom wasn't here, but the one down the hall was. He served on the bench for a short period of time and then went to the North Carolina Supreme Court. He served on the North Carolina Supreme Court first as a justice and then as the Chief Justice, beginning in 1920. For 26 years, he was Chief Justice. For 31 years, he was a regular justice. He wrote decisions from 1920 to 1951, and when you read them, it's the history of our state. He's known for his support of women and women's rights. And I can't help but note, these are all men. We started out wanting to say we need to honor these men, but I stopped myself. That is a grievous error. And I hope that that grievous error is corrected soon. The portrait of our senior resident Superior Court, Phyllis Gorham, she's made history and she needs to be on these walls. Then there's Judge John Birney Sr. John Birney Sr. served as a solicitor before Alan Cobb became a solicitor, and he became a Superior Court judge before Alan Cobb's son, Judge Cobb, became a Superior Court judge. So there's history and connections here that go on and on. Another justice, the one down at the end that people had heard of because Pender County had a lawyer, his son was practicing. That's Clifton Moore. Clifton Moore was a Superior Court judge here, and he went on to the North Carolina Supreme Court. So you've got Supreme Court justices decorating these walls. Daniel Russell went on to be elected on the fusion ticket as governor. We've got a former governor on these walls, and nobody knew who they were. We easily forget things that are so important. Our history, we're doomed to repeat it if we're not careful. I see Judge Fullwood's portrait on my right. I see Judge Hockenberry's on my left. The flood of memories to me are just insurmountable. Just amazing to see. They're important. I need to talk about Judge Cobb's contribution during a period of time that was challenging to me personally. In 2008, Sarah Parker asked me to become director of the Administrative Office of the Courts. That was just as the Great Recession was coming upon us. We talked about the challenges the courts were going to face, and sure enough, they did. During that period of the Great Recession, our court system suffered the greatest challenge since the Great Depression. You can talk about COVID now, but in 1918 we had an equivalent problem and there was no vaccination. The challenge of the Great Recession, we took the largest cut to the court system budgetarily that has ever happened. We lost more people, the greatest percentage of people that the courts have ever had to confront. The General Assembly, it was like pulling eye teeth throughout that recession to keep the courts up and running. The first year I served as the director of the Administrative Office of the Courts, Alan Cobb was the president of the Conference of Superior Court Judges. He had just been elected by 116 judges unanimously from across the state. He had the respect that was broad and profound. He and I had served together for a long time, and his friendship helped us get through that challenging time. The third year that I was there, he became vice president of the North Carolina Bar Association. Well, the bar was critical in defending the courts through those challenging times. I say on behalf of Sarah Parker and myself, thank you for what you did, because the fact that you were so respected across the state, held those positions at that critical time, enabled the courts to get through rocks and shoals unlike any we've ever navigated. We're still feeling the effects of it, but it's clear that we survived and are now on an upward road. Thank goodness. So, Judge Cobb, thank you for all you did. Thank you for your friendship. Thanks for all of the calls. Thanks for going to the General Assembly with me. It just goes on and on and on. I told you I could talk for an hour. I could talk for an hour just about that and what we did. It's an amazing time. He also served on the Courts Commission when I was there. Grants from the Court Commission helped us get through a lot of the challenges of that Great Recession, because the General Assembly was not interested in family courts, not interested in drug courts, not interested in anything that they didn't think was critical and essential. Grants kept a lot of those programs going. Grants to local law enforcement agencies from the Governor's Crime Commission helped them keep going during that time. And Judge Cobb served with esteem at that. He was always there for advice, and I shall always appreciate it. Soon Alan Cobb's portrait is going to look out at us. I'm not sure where are you going to put it, Madam Clerk? Over here?
Yes, sir. He'll be over here.
He'll be over here. He'll be looking out at us. As you look at the eyes of these judges, I hope you will think about the great challenges that present themselves to human beings put in a position where they are to serve the people. Look into their eyes. The administration of justice is a human endeavor. I am sorry I don't have time to talk more about them. Every one of them has a story that is critical to your history and my history. It would be worth your time, and you would enjoy it so much. In a different time and different place, we could do that. But for now, I hope you will look into their eyes and see the great chain that is the tradition of our judicial system, that Judge Cobb, presumably right over here, will be looking out at us. I've seen his portrait. The artist captured his sense of humor. The artist captured his sense of public service. But most of all, the artist captured his character. And as you judge everyone on this wall, just as we can judge ourselves, we can use the standard that Judge Cobb accepted from the moment he was elected and lived by. He did justice, he loved mercy, and he walked humbly. And I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Before we move on to our next speaker, I do want to acknowledge the appellate court judges. If you'll please stand or raise your hand. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is John Silverstein. After a few years in the Attorney General's office, John Silverstein has and Howard Satowski began the firm of Satowski and Silverstein, where he worked for over 50 years practicing administrative, business, and real estate law. He was president of the Wake County Bar Association and chairman of the Riley Board of Adjustment. In 2002, the Wake County Bar Association awarded him the Joseph Branch Professionalism Award. He was president of the North Carolina State Bar in 2018. He and Judge Cobb have been friends for many years. Mr. Silverstein.
Thank you, Judge Gordon. You said Satowski and Silverstein the first time better than anybody I've ever heard. Hardly for my back.
That's all right.
Thank you. Judge Gordon, Judge Cobb, esteemed judges, elected officials, and special guests. This is actually the first time I've ever been in a courtroom with Judge Cobb. And what a great way to start. Nevertheless, we do go back a very long way and share a significant bond. Our initial meeting was more than 45 years ago. W. Allen Cobb, Jr. had just completed his first year of law school and had accepted a position for the summer with the Attorney General's office. At that time, I was in the AG's office and helped run the internship program. So that's where we first became acquainted. In the more recent past, we have had the opportunity to reconnect professionally through the North Carolina State Bar. As you have already heard from Judge Smith, Judge Cobb was the president of the Conference of Superior Court Judges. In that capacity, he participated in meetings of the State Bar Council, of which I was a member. A few years later, the term of your 5th District Counselor, Harold Pollack, was about to expire, and I was among many who encouraged Judge Cobb to run for election to the State Bar Council to represent this district. The State Bar Council functions through a committee structure, and this is a list of the committees on which Judge Cobb has served: administrative, appointments, compensation for court-appointed counsel, of which he was chair, courthouse access special committee, of which he was vice chair, distinguished service award, ethics, executive, fee dispute subcommittee, of which he was chair, grievance, legislative, of which he was vice chair, practice management, proactive management based regulations special committee, and the PMBR cybersecurity committee, and the publications editorial board, of which he is currently vice chair. By any objective standard, it is clear that his service on the State Bar Council has been exemplary. On an even more personal and significant level to me, about 15 years ago, I reconnected with Brother Cobb when his son, W. Allen Cobb III, courted and eventually married my niece, Emily Gammon Cobb, which has given us the opportunity to expand and deepen our friendship as we have become family. And it has more recently given me the real joy to see him in a new capacity that transcends Allen, counselor, judge, or even brother, that of grandfather. Papa J, to his special granddaughters, Jane and Louise Cobb, who also happen to be my great nieces. Now, Jane and Louise, even though you got to leave school early today to see Papa J being honored, I have a new vocabulary word for you to learn, and that word is legacy. A person's legacy describes what that person has accomplished in their life and their impact on people and places. You already know Papa Jay as a terrific grandfather who can expertly build everything from fancy tree houses to beautiful desks. But you are learning more today about his impact on other people as an excellent judge. And as his granddaughters, you will play important roles in describing his legacy to your children and your grandchildren. There is a famous philosopher who thousands of years ago said, "What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others." His name was Pericles, and he wasn't quite right about the stone monuments, since the building in which this ceremony is taking place is named after your great-grandfather. But he was absolutely spot on about what is woven into the lives of others. Jane and Louise, today's celebration is proof you aren't the only ones who greatly admire your grandfather. This portrait, as which Judge Smith so eloquently described, captures your grandfather's good character, is being unveiled in this courthouse, where he presided so effectively as a judge, as a testament to the way his service has been woven into the lives of others. This portrait is a fitting symbol of not only his accomplishments as a judge in New Hanover County, but for the outstanding legacy of contributions to the people and the institutions of our state that he has consistently established through many years of dedicated service. Thank you, Judge Cobb, for the privilege of participating in this most meaningful ceremony.
Our final speaker is Chief District Court Judge Jay Courtney. He's the Chief District Court Judge for New Hanover and Pembroke counties. After 12 years in private practice, Judge Courtney was appointed District Court Judge in 1991. He was elected in 1992 and re-elected in every election since then. He has served longer than any elected judge in the history of the 5th Judicial District. The recognition, honors, and awards he has received over his career are too numerous to mention. Judge Courtney.
May it please the court. Thank you, Judge Gorham. You know, all my life I've hated following John Smith on a program. Even when I got the opportunity to close in a jury trial. He sets the bar. What a great day. Brother, Debbie, Alan, it's so wonderful to be with you all today. And thank you for the honor of being able to participate in this momentous occasion. So distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, there's a lot of juice in this room today. And it's here to honor you. So I'd like to add my welcome to each and every one of you to this auspicious occasion as we dedicate and unveil this portrait of our friend Alan Cobb. Judge Cobb is the former senior resident Superior Court judge for this district, retiring September 1, 2016. When I typed those words out, it just didn't seem real to me. With 25 3/4 years of service, at that time the longest serving judge in the history of New Hanover County. And he was the most senior of the resident Superior Court judges in this division at the time of his retirement. There's a lot about his journey of leadership, commitment, and service that you need to know about. You've heard of some of it from the two speakers who came before me. I remember the first time we met. I was standing at the base of the grand staircase in the historic courthouse, which was configured a little differently in 1979. First week of September, my first week as a lawyer. I'm standing at the foot of the stairs talking to our friend Billy Mason. I had played basketball with Billy in intramurals at Wake Forest, and when I got here, we reconnected, and Up walked another fairly young lawyer, and I'm going to talk about you, Patrick Valentine, in just a minute. Yes, sir. Up walked this other young lawyer who'd been here for about a year at the time. I was introduced to Brother Cobb. And after some pleasantries about, who you're working with, what are you doing, how long you've been here, what do you like to do, the topic quickly changed to basketball and a team called AMI Title. That was a powerhouse in the late 70s and 80s. I even remember a game that involved somebody else who was here in this room. I think we may have beat a state championship high school basketball team. I don't tell that story just because of basketball, but because our years on the hard courts together, or on the cement court at First Baptist, cemented a lifelong friendship that led to a relationship of cooperation and contact over our years of service together, which is so incredible because we were able to work together. There are places that doesn't happen, but we were, and that friendship was the foundation of that, and I'm forever grateful. You've heard that he was in practice for 12 years before he ran for election to the district court bench in 1990, and then Governor Hunt appointed him to the Superior Court bench in 1993. He ran unopposed in 1994, 2002, and 2010, a real achievement. He became our senior resident Superior Court judge for this district in 2007 upon the retirement of Judge Ernest Fullwood that Judge Smith has already mentioned, and served with distinction in that role until his retirement in 2016. Judge Cobb was a quiet leader. Those of you who've worked with him know that. He listened to what everyone had to say before offering his thoughts, his opinions. He wanted input from everyone. He brought a strong work ethic and great organizational skills to his role as senior resident Superior Court judge, resulting in transformational change in both the civil and criminal superior courts in our district. He led our district's executive leadership to the UNC School of Government for a judicial district executives course designed to help bring us closer together as leaders and make us more effective leaders as we serve you, the public. And then led us back as we had some leadership changes for an alumni course at the same School of Government to try to get everybody on board and move forward as we seek to serve the people of this district. He brought order and cooperation to a process that I can only describe as unique. Judge Cobb and Madam Clerk, the selection of magistrates in North Carolina. I'm forever grateful to you for that. And yes, he led us through our first attempt to do pandemic planning in this district, when we had to do this thing called a PCOOP plan, for pandemic continuity of operations plan, that none of us thought we would ever need. And yes, we had conversations about what a waste of time this is. I swear, cannot make it up. Judge Cobb was a hard-working and fair judge. He was welcomed in every one of the 50 counties that he appeared in as a presiding judge. He presided over more than 500 jury trials, including some of the most complex jury trials in our system, both in civil and in criminal court. Our responsibilities intersected on a frequent basis. He was always available, always willing to work to improve our system, fully embracing his role as a servant leader for the people of this district. The imprint of Judge Cobb's leadership spread across the state. You've heard about some of that. He did serve as the president of his Superior Court Judges Conference and as a vice president of the North Carolina Bar Association. Spent 2 terms on the Courts Commission, which is an incredibly important role for all of us that are involved in the court system. During his judicial career, he participated as a lecturer, panelist, guest speaker in numerous seminars and programs dedicated to the betterment of the legal profession all over the state, and served as a member of faculty at the UNC School of Government, where he frequently lectured on evidence for new Superior Court judges at New Judges School. He continues this service even now in retirement, both serving as an emergency Superior Court judge and also as our state bar counselor for this district. Judge Cobb is loved here at home not only for his service to our court system, but also for his service to our community. You'll hear more about that in a few minutes from Mayor Bill Saffo and Chair Julia Olson-Bozeman. In fact, the County Commission adopted a resolution that you're going to hear in just a few minutes in appreciation and honor of Judge Cobb for his service. He has never forgotten who he works for, and his leadership and service to the people of this district and the state of North Carolina is clear evidence of that. Res ipsa loquitur, as us judges and lawyers would say. It's my privilege to count you as friend. It's been an honor to walk beside you on this journey for a lot of years. It's a special blessing for me to be able to participate today as we celebrate you, honor you, unveil and dedicate this portrait of you. A portrait that will take its place on the walls of honor in this room in a building so appropriately named for your father. Congratulations on a great career and on this special occasion. Thanks again for inviting me to participate today.
At this time, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper will be with us today by video. Please direct your attention to the television screen to my left.
Career. Congratulations to Judge Cobb on becoming a member of our state's highest honorary society, the Order of the Longleaf Pine. You're joining the company of so many outstanding North Carolinians who dedicated their lives to serving our great state. Judge Cobb, for more than 25 years, you've served on the bench with honor and dedication. You've heard thousands of cases, taking on complex civil and criminal matters. From your work as president of the Conference of Superior Court Judges and as a state bar counselor, you've been a leader in the legal profession. And you've played an active role outside the chambers as well. You've served as president of the Cape Fear Council and a trustee of the Cape Fear Community College, as well as working with the Boy Scouts. Your service has made the Cape Fear area a better place for people to live, learn, and work. I'm so grateful for all you've done for North Carolinians, and I know that the people in this room are too. Congratulations again, Brother Cobb. I appreciate your dedication, your friendship, and your commitment to our state. Welcome to the well-deserved Order of the Longleaf Pine.
Sappho to jointly present to Judge Cobb the Order of the Longleaf Pine.
So I'm not doing prepared remarks, so I know everybody's a little bit nervous, including the staff. May it please the courts. I don't know about the other attorneys in here, but I am totally confused with all these judges and who to talk to and who to look at. Judge Smith, I shared with him earlier that he is the first judge in 1993. I walked in 317. He's turning red. And appeared before him. He scared the shit out of me. I've been in real estate closings for 20 years, and then until I would come back. But a lot of you probably don't know that Judge Cobb and our parents were really good friends. They went to basketball games together and had all types of adult fun that they didn't allow us to participate in. I was actually a commissioner 20 years ago, standing here when Papa Cobb, this was dedicated to Papa Cobb. So the history between our families is just, this means so much to us. Can you think our parents ever would have thought that I would be here? I'm sure my dad would say no. Yeah, my father's ever would have thought presenting you with this lifetime award. Whereas W. Allen Cobb Jr. was born and raised in Wrightsville Beach and attended New Hanover County Public Schools, and whereas Judge Cobb received his undergraduate degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in 1974 and his Juris Doctorate from North Carolina Central University School of Law in 1978, go Eagles. Whereas Judge Cobb was elected as a district court judge in 1990 after 12 years of private practice, and whereas Governor Jim Hunt appointed Judge Cobb to serve as resident Superior Court judge in 1993, and he was subsequently re-elected 3 times, and whereas Judge Cobb became the senior resident Superior Court judge in 2007, whereas Judge Cobb held several offices of legal distinction, including President of the North Carolina Conference of Superior Court Judges, Vice President of the North Carolina Bar Association, and currently is the North Carolina State Bar Counselor for the 6th Judicial District. Whereas Judge Cobb presided over hundreds of jury trials and thousands of non-jury matters, including complex civil matters, medical negligence cases, capital murder trials, serious felonies, and misdemeanor appeals. And whereas Judge Cobb's office was located in the William Allen Cobb Judicial Annex in New Hanover County, which is named in honor of his father. And whereas Judge Cobb has been active in his community, serving as president of the Cape Fear Council, Boy Scouts of America, as president of the North Carolina Zaya Festival, as trustee of Cape Fear Community College, and on boards of UNC Chapel Hill General Alumni Association, UNC Chapel Hill Board of Visitors, UNC Wilmington Board of Visitors, and UNC Chapel Hill Moorhead Kane Foundation Scholars Program Regional Committee. And whereas Judge Cobb retired September the 1st, 2016, after more than 25 years as a judge, and have the most seniority of any Superior Court judge in his division. And whereas Judge Cobb will be honored February the 10th, 2022, as his portrait is hung in courtroom 403 in the Judicial Annex, and he receives the Order of the Longleaf Pine in recognition of decades of public service. Now therefore be it resolved that the New Hanover County Board of Commissioners honors Judge W. Allen Cobb for his decades of outstanding service in the legal and judicial profession and to his community. Adopted this, the 7th day of February 2022.
It is an honor to be here at this public hanging. It's a tremendous honor to be here, and I don't want to ever be in a Superior Courtroom unless it's something like this. I've had the distinct honor of knowing Judge Cobb for many, many years. I went to school with his sister Catherine at Brycewood Beach Elementary School. And Judge Cobb was, I'm not going to call you judge, I'm going to call you brother, like we've always known you. And most of you in here know him as brother. And he was a little bit older than us, but I can tell you he was a cool cat, and he was a good guy. And it was fun to be around for those of us that have had the opportunity to be around him in that kind of a setting. But you've been an outstanding public servant to this community. I know that your father was an outstanding public servant to this community, to this state, and for that we owe you a great deal of gratitude. I've been in all of you for many years, and I have seen you from playing basketball, and you called a lot of damn fouls, but you were always fair. And I just want to say on behalf of all the citizens of Wilmington, thank you for your public service, for over 25 years of public service to this great state and to this community. I can tell you I've been all over this state talking with a lot of different city attorneys and mayors, and everywhere I go in this state, somebody will come up to me and tell me to tell Brother Cobb I said hello, and that says a lot. I've never had anybody say a bad word about you, and that's a great honor to have. So on behalf of all the citizens of Wilmington, on behalf of the City Council, we're presenting in recognition and sincere appreciation to Judge W. Allen Cobb, Jr. for this unwavering commitment to the impartiality of the justice system and the meaningful community activism in our region. Presented this 10th day of February 2022 by the Wilmington City Council. Congratulations.
May it please the court. So, what an honor, first of all, to have you all here. Thank you very much. But what an honor it is for me to have Judge Phyllis Gorham presiding over this ceremony. I have always told her that she is by far the prettiest Superior Court judge in this district. More importantly, I I have so admired and loved watching your career. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Sheriff McMahon, you are dressed up today. You always let me be a part of your ceremony, so I'm very touched that you're a part of mine today. Thank you very much. John Smith, John Silverstein, and Jay Corpening, thanks to each of you for those very kind comments. I'm humbled and not sure deserving of them all. So I best express my appreciation by using a quote from the most well-renowned legal scholar of our generation, Mick Jagger, who said, "You make a grown man cry." I thank the governor for his kind video and presenting me with the Order of the Longleaf Pine. It's especially important to me because my father received the same award, and it's a very touching tribute. Julia and Billy, that's what I'm going to call you. Thank you for representing the governor in the presentation and for your tributes. I've known both of you a long time, and you're so special to me. Thank you very much. So this crowd, I mean, I couldn't possibly recognize everybody, but to all the resident, visiting, and retired Superior Court judges, and resident, visiting, and retired District Court judges, Justice Urban and Judge Inman from the appellate courts, thank you very much for being here. We're honored by your presence. To all the county commissioners, the city council members in attendance, members of the General Assembly, present and past, and local elected officials, to the extent you're here today, thank you very much for your attendance, and thank you very much for the jobs you do in your individual capacities. They're very, very important jobs. Jan Kennedy, thank you very much for your participation. And you can't do anything in this building without going through Jan. And she's very pleasant to work with. I don't know if the public defender Jennifer is here or not. One of the smartest things I ever did was appoint Jennifer to be the public defender. What year was that, Jennifer? I forgot.
That was 2008.
I always ask her if she's had her mean pill for the morning. I know there's some elected DAs present and past. I can say David because both of the Davids were invited. And I know Brandy's here. Is Ernie here? Anyway, thank you for the job you're doing and did. Law enforcement officers, wow, thanks to everybody. Good friends of mine. To the officers, counselors, and the professional staff of the North Carolina State Bar, if you're here, would you raise your hand because I had my back turned to you. Marcy's the president-elect, and is that Alice? Hey, Alice. Thank you all for coming. Means a great deal. I want to acknowledge those members of the School of Government that were able to be here. I know Professor Smith is here. Are any of your colleagues here that you've seen? Well, seeing Professor Jesse Smith is all the representation you need from the School of Government. She is one incredible lady, and her staff in the school there do so much to elevate the court system of the state of North Carolina. We all owe them a debt of gratitude. And all lawyers, local, regional, statewide, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to come and celebrate this with me today. And I think some Azalea Festival past officers might be present, and Azalea Festival friends and staff members there. Thank you very much for being here. I have a couple of special tributes. First, to New Hanover County Attorney Wanda Copley. You're great. And Sharon and Kim, your staff, do a great job, and I've enjoyed working with you all through the years. And the New Hanover County, the professional staff, I'm speaking of Kim and Sarah, Tim Buckland, and I'm sure there are others here. Thank you for everything you've done to make it. County Manager Chris Coudray. I have to give a shout out to the courtroom clerks who I had the pleasure of working with. I'm telling you, they're the most important people in the judicial system, are the courtroom clerks. Just when you're getting ready to fall off the limb, they prop you back up. You all know who you are. I don't know exactly who's here, but some of them that I'm going to mention, and I'm sure I'll leave some out, but Griffiths and Gersty and Jennifer and Jane and Heather Shashevsky, is she here? Pam and Langley, Russo, Creech, Janice, Wheat, Dolores, there are many of them. They've been great to me, and I have enjoyed working with all of y'all. And the courtroom bailiffs, the clerks and the bailiffs are who you work with on a steady basis every day. They make or break your enjoyment level in the courtroom. But I've had some great bailiffs and the privilege of working with the Bull. Where's the Bull? Where are you, Tommy? The Bull. Ken Bradley's not here. Jeff Lee's here, I've seen Jeff. And Burke. Where's Burke? Thank you all. Y'all did a great job taking care of me. And I'd like to recognize the 5th District Superior Court administrative staff. Valerie Jordan and Wanda Poole were most prominent when I was in that position. I have a special tribute that I would like to give now, and I would ask for my friend Lou Llewellyn to stand, wherever you are, Lou. So this is Superior Court Judge retired James D. Lou Llewellyn. He originally was from Kinston in his legal career. I met Lou in 1980 when he first came to New Hanover County to hold court. I was inspired by him because of the example he set on the bench. We developed a close relationship, and he encouraged me to become a judge. He was with me the night I won my first election as a district court judge. He helped me with appointment to the Superior Court bench and has been with me every election thereafter. He has administered every oath of office I have ever taken, which is 5 different times. He gave me lots of sage advice, taught me the tricks of the trade along the way. Thank you, my special friend. I'm forever indebted to you. And my trusted inside team, Tanya Gillett. Where's she hiding? Step around here. Get over here. Just a little, one more step. She became my trial court administrator shortly after I became senior resident Superior Court judge in 2007. She is a remarkably organized young lady and keeps the 5th District on track, then and now. She did it all and made me look so good over the years, and she is my dear friend now and will always be my dear friend. Thank you for everything. You see this busy lady over my left shoulder pounding out the keyboards. This is Tina Stansel. I worked with Tina longer than anyone in my career. To me, she's the best darn court reporter in the system. And she is also my dear friend. She retired not long ago after working 32 years. I can't tell you the number of times she has bailed me out. Court reporters, you see it all and hear it all in every case. And they know the system backwards and forwards. When I would make a glaring mistake, she would tactfully bring it to my attention in time to correct the record and save my butt. So thank you, Starkey. I am the turtle on top of the fence post. I didn't get here by myself. These special people helped me so much, and I'm forever indebted. Thank you very much. So, it has been my honor to serve the citizens of the 5th Judicial District. I navigated through 4 elections and served just 2 months shy of 26 years. When I retired in 2016, as Judge Corpenine has told you, I was the longest serving elected judge in the history of this district. But fast forward now, 5.5 years later, and Judge Corpenine holds that distinction now. He just blitzed right by me when I got in the building. Today I'm filled with emotion and trying to take it all in, the kind remarks about my career. So my approach to work and interaction with people was heavily influenced by my father, who it turned out was a great philosopher. Combined, he and I worked in this district's court system for almost 100 years as I stand here right now. I didn't always want to hear or take his advice. You know, it was that father-son thing when I was young. Mark Twain perhaps captured my feelings best when he wrote, "When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much the old man had learned in 7 years." So in private practice, and when I became a judge, he would tactfully drop these following pearls on me at every opportune time. He would say, "If you're not careful, you'll talk yourself right out of a job." And of course, less is better was his point. He also said, "Everyone who comes through the courthouse doors is expecting you to make a decision, either for them or against them. You will have the parties in the palm of your hands. Whatever you decide, just treat them with respect and they will understand." His second pearl was, "Be nice to people." Another one I heard all the time was, "Wanda, never become shot in the butt with a dose of your own self-importance." And he and I had this gimmick whereby he'd be on one side of the room talking to somebody and I'd be on the other, and if he was plagued with somebody who was full of their self-importance, he would look at me with this wry smile and he would go, and I'm in. I got you. And lastly, he would say, "It doesn't cost you a single penny to smile. Those around you will feel at ease and good results will follow." So I tried to abide by those. They were tough, but he was a pretty smart old guy. So in our system, the courts decide what really happened in a case and what should be done about it. Courts determine the facts and they apply legal principles to decide who is right. In other words, the courts seek the truth. I tried every day to bring to the bench the proper blend of temperament, intelligence, ethics, courage, integrity, and character. I strive to hear courteously, answer wisely, consider soberly, and decide impartially, certainly without perfection, but I did try. And I'm not unlike most judges in this state. We all take an oath pledging, in pertinent part, to support the Constitution of the United States, be faithful to the state of North Carolina, and to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of North Carolina to the best of our knowledge and ability, so help us God. We have a duty to follow this mandate, and to a person and lady, I think we all take it very seriously. Right, guys and ladies? Since its birth, our nation has gone through turbulent times. Today is no different. We find ourselves experiencing challenges to the rule of law, to our democracy, and to the constitutional order. Our systems have held in the past. We should trust that they will hold today and again in the future, and that the truth will prevail. If so, our government will work, and the courts will play an important role in making that happen. It is being in this role that makes me so proud to have been a judge. Thank you all in your own way for giving me the opportunity and helping me along the way. In closing, I'll leave with a quote from U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy, who said, "The remedy for speech that is false is speech that is true. This is the ordinary course in a free society. The response to the unreasoned is the rational, to the uninformed, the enlightened, to the straight-out lie, the simple truth." Let's all go forward in that pursuit. Now, I am told we have a portrait to unveil here today. So let me say a little bit about the people that are most special to me. My wife, Debbie, seated to my right. Let me just say that she's the most wonderful and fulfilling person I have ever known. Thank you, Dee Dee, for sharing with me our magic carpet ride. Our son, Alan Cobb III. I'm Alan Cobb Jr., and my father was Alan Cobb. By definition, we have no creativity in our family. Alan, and seated next to Alan is his wife, Emily Gammon Cobb. And most importantly, our granddaughters, Jane and Louise Cobb. They're from Raleigh. Emily's parents, Jill and Roland Gammon, are here and here. They're both from Raleigh. My sister Ann Williamson is not here, but her husband Bill is. And you got it all out of line. That's why I had to stop. I was saying, now Bill's not married to Jill. My sister Catherine Cobb West and her husband Frank, next over here. My sweet aunt Betty Rogers from Greensboro is here. It's so special to have you here. Thank you so much. And my Seagate relative George Gaddy. Where's rotten George Gaddy? He's a very special guy. Thanks, George, for being here. And some of my first cousins, second cousins, and cousins once removed, you know who you are. I'm just glad you're all here. Thank you. So please, on this occasion, let me introduce to you the portrait artist, Mr. Kenny Barnes, of Kenny Barnes Studio of Portraits and Paintings here in Wilmington. Kenny, where are you? This is Kenny Barnes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a great round. He is the reason we're here. Thank you, Kenny, very much. So Jane, Louise, please bring Dee Dee and your parents up here and let's get this thing underway. Ready to go? Are y'all,
Yeah, we're ready.
Jane, you ready to do this? Don't do it yet. So each of you are gonna grab that curtain there about in the middle, and I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and when I say 1, 2, 3, y'all then pull it and let it drop, okay? All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this portrait unveiling ceremony. Thank you to each of you for attending the ceremony today. I do want to invite each of you to a reception that will be in courtroom 317 immediately following the closing of the court. And at this time, Mr. Sheriff, you will close court.
All rise. This court is now adjourned, signed and aye. God save the state and this honorable court.